What if one quarter in your pocket is worth more than your monthly salary or even a brand new car? Most people spend quarter-dollar coins without ever checking them, but three rare US quarters, because of historic mint years, silver content, and shocking mint errors, have sold for thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars. A tiny detail like a missing mint mark, double design, or rare composition can turn a simple 25-cent coin into a collector's dream. Before you drop another quarter into a vending machine, stop and look closely, because you might already be holding one of the most valuable quarter-dollar coins.
Imagine holding a coin in your hand, a coin that carries not just monetary value, but also the history, culture, and identity of an entire state. In the year 2001, the United States Mint released one of the most captivating coins in its ambitious and historic 50-state quarters program, and that coin is the Rhode Island State Quarter, a 25-cent piece that represents far more than its face value. It is a piece of American artistry, ingenuity, and heritage struck into metal for millions. To collect and admire Rhode Island, the smallest state in the United States by area, was given its moment of national recognition through this coin. And its design tells a story that combines maritime tradition, nautical exploration, and the proud identity of a state known as the Ocean State. To understand this coin fully, we must step back to the origins of the 50-state quarters program itself, which was announced in 1997 under the administration of President Bill Clinton and authorized by the United States Congress through the United States Commemorative Coin Program Act. This program was designed to release a unique quarter for each of the 50 states of the Union, issued in the order in which the states ratified the Constitution, or were admitted to the Union starting in 1999 and running until 2008. It was the most ambitious circulating coinage initiative in American history, capturing the imagination of collectors and the public alike, Rhode Island being the 13th. Original colony became the 13th state to join the Union on May 29, 1790, and so in the year 2001, it was honored with its own commemorative quarter. The Rhode Island quarter was officially released on May 21, 2001, becoming the third state quarter. Of that year following New York and North Carolina, the design of this coin is what makes it stand out immediately on the reverse, or tails side of the coin. The dominant image is that of a majestic sailboat gliding across Narragansett Bay, a scene that encapsulates Rhode Island's deep and enduring connection to the sea. This sailboat specifically represents a class of sailing vessel known as a vintage yacht, highlighting the rich maritime tradition of the state, but more importantly, it symbolizes freedom, adventure, and exploration qualities that resonate not only with Rhode Islanders but with all Americans. In the background of the scene is Pell Bridge, also known as the Claiborne-Pell-Newport Bridge, one of the most iconic landmarks in the state of Rhode Island, completed in 1969. This suspension bridge connects the city of Newport on Aquidneck Island to Jamestown on Conanicut Island and serves as a gateway to the region. The bridge itself is not just a practical structure, but a symbol of engineering achievement and economic connection, representing how Rhode Island links its proud seafaring heritage with modern progress beneath the imagery. The motto of the state appears simply as the Ocean State, a nickname Rhode Island proudly carries and which has been officially recognized since 1971. This motto ties everything together, reminding the observer that water defines the character, identity, and lifeblood of Rhode Island. The obverse, or head side of the coin, retains the traditional portrait of George Washington, designed originally by John Flanagan in 1932, but slightly modified for the state quarters program. This side also bears the inscriptions, United States of America, Liberty, In God We Trust, and quarter dollar, along with the mint mark showing where the coin was struck. The Rhode Island quarter was struck at both the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint, with additional proof and silver-proof versions produced at the San Francisco Mint. The circulation mintage numbers were staggering, as was typical for the state quarters program. More than 1 billion Rhode Island quarters were produced for circulation, specifically over 870 million at Philadelphia and over 657 million at Denver. These huge numbers ensured that the coin reached every corner of the nation, allowing millions of Americans to hold a piece of Rhode Island heritage in their pocket. Change collectors, however, pay special attention to proof issues and minting errors the San Francisco Mint produced. Both clad proof coins intended for collectors in sets, and 90% silver proof coins, which are particularly prized today due to their limited mintages numbering only in the millions, compared to the hundreds of millions for circulation strikes. Errors such as double dies off center strikes and wrong planchet errors can make certain Rhode Island quarters worth far more than face value in the numismatic market. The value of most circulated Rhode Island quarters remains at or near 5 cents, but uncirculated mint state examples, especially those graded at the highest levels by professional grading services, can command several dollars, and rare error coins or high-grade silver proofs can be worth significantly more, making them sought after by serious coin enthusiasts. The history behind the symbols chosen for the Rhode Island quarter deserves attention. Rhode Island has always been defined by its maritime heritage with over 400 miles of coastline, despite its tiny land area. Its economy, history, and culture have long revolved around the sea. Narragansett Bay has been central to trade travel, fishing, and recreation for centuries, and the image of a yacht sailing across its waters captures both the past and the present. Rhode Island is home to Newport, one of the sailing capitals of the world, where international yacht races and regattas have been held for generations. The inclusion of the Pell Bridge further ties the coin to modernity and progress. The bridge is the longest suspension bridge in New England, and a marvel of 20th century engineering. Its presence on the coin reminds us that Rhode Island is not just about history and tradition, but also about innovation and connectivity, designing. The Rhode Island quarter was no simple task like all the state quarters. Its final design was the result of a careful process involving the state government, the United States Mint, and ultimately the approval of the Secretary of the Treasury. Rhode Island held a design competition, and public input was considered with several concepts proposed before the final choice was made. The winning design came from Daniel Carr, an artist who submitted multiple winning concepts across different states. In the program, Carr's design for Rhode Island captured the essence of the state by focusing on its nautical identity and was ultimately selected to be immortalized on the coin. Over time, the Rhode Island quarter has become not only a part of numismatic collections, but also a teaching tool for history, culture, and art. Educators have used the coin to introduce students to the geography, history, and symbolism of Rhode Island, while collectors treasure it as a reminder of the most successful coin collecting program in United States history. The 50-state quarters program is estimated to have drawn over 140 million Americans into coin collecting, many for the first time, and generated billions of dollars in revenue for the United States Mint. Beyond its economic impact, it left a legacy of cultural pride and education, with each state quarter serving as a miniature canvas for the identity of a state. As we reflect on the Rhode Island quarter, we see more than a simple 25-cent piece. We see a coin that tells the story of a state defined by its waters, its bridges, and its love of sailing. We see a coin that connects history, engineering, art, and culture into a small but powerful design. We see a coin that allowed Rhode Island to share its pride with the nation and with the world. This coin is not just change, it is history. It is heritage, and it is memory struck into metal for generations to hold and treasure. In the year 2000, the United States Mint continued its remarkable 50-state quarters program by releasing the Maryland State Quarter, a coin that not only celebrated the history of the old line state, but also embodied the pride, resilience, and story of America itself. The Maryland quarter is more than just a piece of metal. It is a symbol of history, patriotism, and heritage, struck in both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. This coin marked the 7th issue in the 50-state quarters series, which had begun in 1999 to commemorate the individual stories and symbols of each American state. The Maryland quarter immediately drew attention for its elegant and meaningful design on its reverse. The coin displays the State House dome of the Maryland State Capitol building in Annapolis, a site of immense historical importance. The Maryland State House is the oldest state capitol still in continuous legislative use, dating back to 1772, and it played a central role during the early years of American independence. It was in this very building that the Continental Congress met from 1783 to 1784, making it the first peacetime capital of the United States. And it was here that General George Washington resigned his commission as Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army on December 23, 1783, an event that symbolized the birth of American democracy and civilian control of the military. The design of the Maryland quarter captures this monumental history. The dome shown Prominently on the coin is one of the most recognizable architectural landmarks in the nation, topped with a weather vane in the shape of a ship to honor Maryland's maritime heritage. The dome itself was built entirely of wood using no nails. A feat of craftsmanship that remains impressive to this day surrounding the State House on the coin are clusters of white oak leaves and acorns representing Maryland's official state tree. The white oak, and specifically the famous Y oak, which stood for more than 460 years until it fell in 2002. The inclusion of the white oak on the coin symbolizes strength, endurance, and longevity, three traits deeply associated with Maryland and its people above the design. The word Maryland stands boldly, with the inscription "The Old Line State" beneath it, a nickname earned during the Revolutionary War, in tribute to the Maryland Line, the brave soldiers who fought with exceptional valor in key battles such as Camden and Cowpens under the command of General William Smallwood. These soldiers were so disciplined and courageous that George Washington himself is said to have bestowed upon Maryland the proud title of the Old Line State. The obverse of the coin features the familiar portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan, first used on the Washington Quarter in 1932 and later modified for the State Quarters series by William Cousins. This pairing of the national symbol of leadership with the deeply local imagery of the State House gives the Maryland Quarter a perfect balance between state pride and national unity. As for its minting, the Maryland Quarter was produced in massive numbers with over 1.2 billion coins struck between the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The Philadelphia mint-marked coins bear the P mint mark, while those from Denver show AD mark proof versions of the coin were also produced at the San Francisco Mint, featuring both clad and 90% silver compositions. Collectors immediately sought these proof coins for their mirror-like finishes and fine detail. The Maryland Quarter holds a special place in the hearts of collectors, not only for its design, but for the deep historical resonance. It carries the State House dome, stands as a living witness to the founding of the Republic, the signing of critical documents, and the transition of power from military to civilian leadership, a defining moment in world history. When George Washington stepped down, he set an example that would influence democratic societies across the globe. The artistic design was chosen through a statewide competition organized by the Maryland Quarter Design Advisory Committee, which reviewed multiple concepts before selecting the final version by artist William Crouchowich. His artwork captured not just the architecture, but the soul of Maryland from the colonial past to its proud present. The Maryland Quarter is also rich in symbolism. The use of the white oak wreath was a deliberate choice to emphasize resilience and deep roots, while the dome represented progress and governance together. They tell the story of a state that stood firm during the American Revolution, contributed key figures to the founding era, and continued to be a center of leadership and education with its proximity to the nation's capital. Maryland played a pivotal role in the growth of the early United States. The coin also reflects the innovation of the 50 State Quarters program itself, launched by the United States Mint under the Coinage Act of 1997. The program transformed the way Americans viewed pocket change. Before this initiative, few people gave thought to the design of quarters, but by releasing 5 new designs each year representing different states, the program sparked massive interest in numismatics across the nation. It inspired millions of Americans, young and old, to begin collecting coins from every state, and the Maryland Quarter became one of the highlights of the series due to its refined simplicity and historical weight. The release date of the Maryland Quarter was March 13, 2000, and almost instantly it circulated widely across the United States, bringing a piece of Maryland's legacy into everyday life. Many who lived through the early 2000s remember the excitement of checking their change, hoping to find this beautifully designed coin that connected them with America's past beyond. Its design and symbolism, the Maryland Quarter, also represents the craftsmanship of the U. Mint. Each die was meticulously engraved to capture the fine details of the wooden dome and the delicate curves of the oak leaves. The quality control at the Philadelphia and Denver mints ensured that the imagery remained sharp even after billions of strikes. Some minting errors have also made certain Maryland quarters particularly valuable among collectors. These include off-center strikes, die cracks, and double die errors. Though rare, such pieces can fetch high prices depending on their condition and rarity. Another layer of meaning lies in the way the Maryland Quarter mirrors the state's geographic and cultural diversity, from the coastal beauty of the Chesapeake Bay to the historic streets of Baltimore and Annapolis, Maryland. is a state that has always stood at the crossroads of American identity. It was one of the original 13 colonies founded by Lord Baltimore in 1632 as a haven for English Catholics seeking religious freedom. And over the centuries, it became a symbol of tolerance, industry, and progress. Its people contributed to every major era of American development. From the Revolution to the Civil War to the space age, the Maryland Quarter thus acts as a microcosm of the American story. It bridges the colonial past with the modern nation, a reminder that democracy, leadership, and endurance are not just words, but legacies carved into history. When collectors hold this coin, they are not merely holding metal. They are touching a timeline that stretches back to George Washington's quiet act of humility in the Maryland State House and forward to the enduring promise of liberty. The coin's motto, E pluribus unum, out of many one, and its inscriptions, United States of America, liberty, and $quarter further emphasize the unity and shared purpose that bind the states together. The Maryland Quarter remains a favorite among both casual collectors and serious numismatists, not just for its design, but for its educational and emotional impact. Schools across the country use the State Quarters program to teach children about geography, history, and civic pride. The Maryland Quarter was often highlighted in these lessons because of its direct connection to one of the most honorable acts in American history, Washington's resignation in Annapolis. Even today, more than 2 decades after its release, the Maryland Quarter continues to attract attention in coin shows and auctions. High-grade examples certified by NGC or PCGs can command impressive prices, especially the silver proofs in pristine condition. This enduring fascination proves that the coin has transcended its face value, becoming a true piece of American heritage, a collector's item that tells a story of honor, governance, and unity through art and metal. The Maryland Quarter stands as a timeless reminder that history is not just written in books, it is minted in coins and carried in the pockets of generations, a bridge between the ideals of the founding fathers and the ongoing journey of the American people through the hands that held it. The Maryland Quarter has spread the story of courage and democracy across the nation, reminding everyone that every coin has a voice and every state has a legacy worthy of remembrance. Imagine holding in your hand a small, shining piece of metal that tells the story of an entire state's pride, history, and culture. Imagine a coin that connects millions of collectors across America and marks the beginning of a new era in United States coinage. Welcome to the world of the 1999 Georgia State Quarter, a masterpiece that is not just a coin, but a symbol of Southern heritage, strength, and identity. This is the coin that took America by storm as part of the revolutionary 50-state Quarters program. A bold move by the United States Mint that forever changed the face of American numismatics, and today we dive deep into the story behind the Georgia Quarter, a coin born from history, molded with symbolism, and cherished by collectors around the world. The 1999 Georgia State Quarter was released on July 19, 1999, as the 4th coin in the legendary 50-state Quarters program, which began earlier that same year to celebrate each state's unique heritage and contribution to the Union. Georgia became the 4th state to join the United States in 1788, and its coin proudly showcases that milestone, designed with elegance and deep meaning. This quarter captures the essence of Georgia's spirit, its agriculture, its courage and history, and its timeless devotion to freedom. The coin was struck in both Philadelphia and Denver mints, with millions of pieces distributed across the nation. But despite its high mintage, the Georgia Quarter remains a beloved collectible for its artistry, symbolism, and the historical power it represents. The design of the 1999 Georgia Quarter is one of the most detailed and meaningful among the early state issues. The reverse side features the famous peach, the state fruit of Georgia, which has long been a symbol of the state's agricultural strength and beauty. The peach sits prominently at the center, surrounded by live oak sprigs representing Georgia's official state tree and a long-standing emblem of strength and resilience wrapped around this design is a graceful ribbon that reads, "Wisdom, Justice, Moderation," the state's official motto. These 3 words reflect the guiding principles that have shaped Georgia's government and people since its founding. Beneath the design lies the state outline, giving the coin a sense of identity and belonging, unlike any before it, and just below that, we find the statehood date, 1788, linking this modern coin to the deep roots of America's birth. The artist behind this design was T. James Farrell, an engraver for the United States Mint, who skillfully balanced simplicity and symbolism in his artwork. His creation captures the story of Georgia in a way that speaks directly to both residents and collectors everywhere. The coin's artistic composition is clean yet full of history. Every leaf and line carries significance, from the resilience of the live oak to the sweetness of the peach and the eternal wisdom of the state motto on the obverse side. The coin continues. The proud American tradition with the profile of George Washington, originally sculpted by John Flanagan in 1932, the inscriptions, United States of America, Liberty, In God We Trust, and quarter dollar surround the image, maintaining the timeless style of the Washington quarter. But what truly makes the Georgia quarter stand out in the vast sea of coinage is not just its design, but its place in history as part of the very first year of the 50-state quarters program. This coin was part of a cultural phenomenon that reintroduced millions of Americans to coin collecting. After years of declining interest, the program sparked excitement in every household. Children began collecting coins from each state. Adults rekindled their love for numismatics, and schools even used the quarters as teaching tools about geography, history, and civics. The Georgia quarter represented the heart of that movement. It became a token of state pride and a piece of Americana that united people through their shared heritage. Minted at both the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint, the 1999 Georgia quarter was produced in large quantities with over 939 million pieces combined, but not all were created equal. Collectors today often search for coins with sharp strikes, clean surfaces, and full details, particularly in mint state or proof condition. Proof versions of the Georgia quarter were specially made for collectors by the San Francisco Mint, with mirror-like fields and frosted designs, giving them a striking contrast and a level of beauty that ordinary circulation strikes could not match. These proof coins, especially those graded PR69 or PR70 by professional grading services, remain highly desirable among serious collectors. Now let's talk about the variations and errors that make certain Georgia quarters especially valuable. Over the years, a number of minting errors have surfaced, making this coin one of the most interesting among early state quarters. Some of the most notable include off-center strikes, die cracks, double dies, and even coins struck on experimental or wrong planchets, such as coins made on nickel planchets. Instead of the standard copper nickel-clad planchets, these rare mistakes turn ordinary quarters into valuable treasures, with some examples selling for hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on rarity and condition. Collectors are always on the lookout for such anomalies because they represent a unique piece of minting history that connects art, technology, and human error in one incredible artifact. Beyond its numismatic appeal, the Georgia quarter carries deep cultural significance. It stands as a tribute to the state's role in American history, from its early colonial days through the Revolution and into modern times. The state's motto, wisdom, justice, moderation, not only reflects Georgia's principles but also symbolizes the ideals that continue to shape the nation. The peach and live oak serve as reminders of the state's natural beauty and strength, while the outline of Georgia emphasizes identity and unity for those who call the state home. This coin is a badge of honor, a small yet powerful reminder of their heritage and contribution to the United States. Over 2 decades later, the Georgia quarter remains a cornerstone of modern coin collecting. It has inspired generations to explore the stories behind everyday change and to discover how much history can fit into a single piece of metal. From its release in 1999 to its continued presence in collections today, this coin's legacy continues to grow. It represents not only the pride of Georgia, but also the rebirth of numismatic passion across America. So when you hold the 1999 Georgia State Quarter, take a moment to appreciate what it truly represents. It is not just a 25-cent piece, it is a time capsule, a work of art, and a monument to state pride. It carries the fingerprints of history, the craftsmanship of skilled engravers, and the dreams of millions who saw in these small, silver-colored discs the story of their homeland. This is the tale of the 1999 Georgia quarter, a coin that stands as a bridge between past and present, between art and history, between the pride of one state and the unity of a nation. And if you think this little piece of metal is just a coin, think again, because within its polished surface lies a story that could fill hours with fascination, mystery, and pride. Welcome to the legacy of the Georgia quarter. where history is struck in metal and every detail tells the story of America's soul.